Hey everyone, so we're back, and we have, hey, here I am, hi. Okay, so anyhow, I'm doing a close-up here so you can see how this actually goes together. We've mixed up our mix. This is our cream cheese cake, basically, with crushed pineapple. So we're going to put this in the refrigerator, and then we're going to, I have my butter is melted, as you can see, not thoroughly. The bowl is kind of warm. So anyhow, we're going to butter this pan up. In a minute, we're going to get our phyllo dough open. So these things sometimes open well, sometimes they don't. So there we go. So that one's not too bad. So hopefully the phyllo dough is fresh. So what happens when it's not fresh is it sticks together and it's really hard to deal with. You might find if you're not real fast at this, putting a wet cloth over it will definitely help you. You can lay a wet towel over top of that and it'll keep this moist. But this dries out very fast in the air. It's very thin, as you can see. Anyhow, so what we're going to do, we're going to start it out. We're going to give our butter a little mix there. We're just going to butter in the pan really well. So, okay, anyway, all the way around, hit the edges really well. Try to keep the top from hitting the top because you're going to have to hold on to this. I have a couple of damp paper towels underneath to keep my tray from sliding. So, anyhow, a little bit more butter. I'm going to make sure it doesn't stick. You don't want your phyllo to stick to this. So, anyhow, so I got a little plate here. I just lay this right there. So one layer. So it's actually falling apart, and that feels like actually feels like 2 layers. We're going to let that one go. So some of these they dry out. Sometimes it might not be very fresh when you get it. Some people make their own if you can make phyllo dough. Wow, that's fantastic. So I'm going to take this, just going to set it in the pan. Going to cover up the edge a little bit. Little butter it in carefully on the first layer. You want to try not to tear it, but you want to get it buttered in pretty well. So after that one's buttered in, just go for your next one. We're going to continue this for a while. So this video is probably going to last about 15 or 20 minutes, me putting this together. So throw one on the other side here. So it doesn't matter if it sticks up over the pan a little bit. I'm going to show you a little trick about taking care of that here shortly. So definitely want to let some of it hang over before you put your mix in. So anyhow, we're just going to keep building on that since our phyllo dough is not the same size as the pan. Then I'm just staggering it. So you want to try to make sure there's no air bubbles. So keep on, get your first layer buttered in well. Air bubbles will let heat get in between. It'll actually burn your phyllo dough while cooking. So anyway, so while we're doing this, I'll just talk a little bit. It's something I don't usually do. So this recipe came from my father. I don't know, he surfaced with this one day and he made it, and he used to do some things differently. He made it, unsalted butter. I forgot to say that. So I'm using unsalted butter. My dad had Meniere's disease and he couldn't have salt. We found out that this stuff actually bakes better with unsalted butter than salted butter. So anyway, this recipe came with him one day, and he taught me how to make baklava. My dad was full-blooded Greek. I am half Greek. So he taught me how to make all the Greek dishes, and this just happens to be my favorite one. I'm going to change directions here because we're going to stagger back and forth, so that's going to hang over a little. It's no big deal. We can let that happen. So just keep buttering it in. So he showed me how to make this, and of course I knew how to make traditional baklava. He had taught me prior to that, and he showed me this. So I started making it, and I made it for probably 15 or 20 years. And he said to me one day that he said that it couldn't be improved. So I was really happy about that. That was a lot coming from my dad. He loved to cook, and he loved to show me how to cook too. So he was good about that. He is deceased, of course. Anyway, so I've been making pineapple cheese baklava. I used to make it. I used to make both kinds and give it away for the holidays. I had a restaurant for a while, and I cook it in the restaurant. So I cook it into big ovens. I'd make like maybe 500 to 700 pieces, and then I'd give it away as Christmas presents because no one ever made it before. And it was a great Christmas present. Most people look forward to it. All of my friends did. So, turned into a tradition that I made every Christmas. I made baklava. I stopped making the traditional because I started making both of these, and then, hey, you know what? No one wanted the traditional anymore. Everyone wanted the pineapple cheese. So pineapple cheese won out. It's probably been 10 or 15 years since I made traditional baklava. So, still know how to make it, of course. Something to never lose. But pineapple cheese won it out. Everyone wanted pineapple cheese baklava. So, if you've never made baklava ever, this process of buttering this dough in takes a good long time to learn to do. So I'm going through this rather quickly, but this really is not the easiest thing. As you can see, I'm starting to flake up here a little bit. So what I do is I'm going to lay a few pieces in the middle. We'll almost have our first pack in. So just going to lay a couple pieces across the center of that, and fix that up a little. So never try to cheat and do 2 layers of phyllo dough at the same time. So I've been through every way of making this to try to shortcut, and it just does not turn out the same. So when you put 2 layers in and you try to butter them in, you get air between the 2 layers, and it just doesn't come up buttery and flaky. So when this is finished cooking, it's very flaky. It's quite a deal. It's quite a deal. A lot of love goes into making this, and if you're willing to give it a try and be patient, it would be absolutely great for you. One moment. And the phone always rings. Anyhow, so let me get rid of that piece right there. I'm going to pull that corner off. Making sure that my butter is plentiful in here. Yeah, see that? So this is the last piece in this pack. I'm just going to go ahead and lay it in over here. I'll lay that there, and I'll lay this here. So anyhow, we're going to open another pack, and we're going to keep on buttering it in, because so like I said, this is I buy the phyllo dough. If you can, make sure you check your dates, everyone. So what happens is a lot of these places have it on their shelves for a long time, in the freezer for a long time, I should say, and it gets outdated. So check the dates on your phyllo dough just to make sure that you're getting fresh stuff. So there's many types of phyllo dough. I guess a lot of people make it. This is tough stuff. It's hard to make. That's why I buy it. If you really have the time, I would suggest that you buy fresh pineapple and crush your own. If you have a Vitamix or anything to that nature, then you could crush your own pineapple, and it would be fantastic. So sometimes the crushed pineapple that you buy already crushed, like the old crushed pineapple, it's great stuff, don't get me wrong, but it has like pineapple chunks in it too, and you want really shredded pineapple for this. You don't want any pineapple chunks in your dough. So anyhow, we have a lot of buttered layers in here. We're going to do a few more here, and then we're going to do our sides. We have to put our sides on before we put our mix in. That's really important because, well, it's just important. It's all important. So, hope everyone is doing well, and if you are watching this video, I hope you enjoy it and you utilize it. There's no other person that knows this recipe besides me. I have a daughter. I've been trying to teach her to do it for 20 years, and she's a very busy lady, so unfortunately she doesn't have time for pineapple cheese baklava, but maybe she'll watch this video and learn from it. I just wanted to make sure that this recipe got out, because it's just too good not to leave behind. So anyhow, I'm going to move my butter bowl over a little bit, and I'm going to do my side pieces. So this is where you got to be kind of quick, because this stuff dries out so fast. I know I've been redundant in saying that, but anyhow, so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to let them lay over. Just going to push it in a little bit, trying not to tear it. Notice I let my brush soak that time. I want it to be real buttery. So I'm going to take another layer, and I'm going to do the same thing right here. I'm going to let it go over. Just going to push it in very gently, butter it in place. So I'm throwing a little butter on the other one, and at the same time, I'm making sure I keep my edges buttered on the stuff I have hanging over, because it'll dry out fast enough that when you pull it back over, it'll break. And if it breaks, then it makes it a little bit tougher. So I'm going to throw this layer on this one. Actually, we better pull that back a little more. There we go. So that one's over. So I'm going to butter that in. Take a second and go around my pan again. Make sure my phyllo dough is staying moist. And then we have one more of these to put on. Then we can put our filling in. So you notice how gently this has to be done. So anyhow, that's our first layer prep. I'm going to grab our filling. I am going to start spooning it in. So I'll be kind of quick. And then trying to get it all, because this is liquid gold, folks. This is very good stuff. So throw that in the sink, and I'm just careful you don't hit your phyllo and tear it or break it. So I'm just spreading this out evenly as I can, so you can see the chunks of pineapple in there all the way into the corners, because every piece counts. Seriously, every piece counts. So It's real important, I mentioned it in the intro, that you don't get pineapple cheese on top of your phyllo. So what happens if you do is it burns, puts a brown spot on top of it, which looks like it could be anything, of course. So we're going to work backwards now. We're going to take this layer first. Just butter the edge over. So what I'm going to do is fold it over. Okay, then I'm going to go this way. Fold it in, a little butter there. Fold it in and put it in place. I'm just going to tear that outside stuff off. So that's it on that one. Hitting the edge of this, so it's already dried out. If you can tell, you can see this well. So the butter on this is important. And I'm going to flip that piece, and as you can see, it's kind of like holding it together. Go back on this one, next to the last piece, pulling it over. So, then I pull this one over, butter it in, and there we go, that's buttered. Make sure your phyllo is buttered well. I can't say that enough. Pull that one over. Not touching the cream cheese with this brush. Not at all. So, anyhow, so now what we're going to do, don't worry about the stuff that's hanging over. What we're going to do, this is the tough part because this cream cheese floats a lot. Just lay that right on there. Now, I can assure you my hands are very clean. I've tried to make this with gloves on, and wow, what a tough job it is. So since I'm going to be eating this whole pan by myself, it don't make a whole lot of difference. No, not really. We're hosting a Wednesday night movie night this week, and our guests have never had this, and it's a special treat for them. And well, there'll be some left over for some of my family members that really love it. So now we're just going to start building on that. Just keep putting it together. There we go. Let's go on this one. So, and the thicker we get our top, the easier it becomes to butter. But you can see how this movement, the cream cheese just moves underneath. So that makes the finishing up this part before it goes in the oven a little tough. I try to keep my phyllo as smooth as possible because my end result, I want it to look like I'm almost like a sheet on the bed. So yeah, just keep your phyllo nice and straight. It's butter, 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 butter. That's what it's about. Buttering it in. So I'm going to switch directions again. Get it the other way. So you notice I'm not going over as much on the edges now at this point because I don't need to. I've already got my corners and my sides built to where my mix is going to stay inside of this. So I'm going to send a copy of this video to Rachel Ray. Wouldn't it be something if Rachel Ray would actually be interested in my pineapple cheese baklava? Maybe. I've seen stranger things happen. So, but it would be what an honor that would be to. I'm going to put another one right here because we have a little tiny break. Just going to put a little band-aid right there. So, yeah, it'd be quite an honor to even meet Rachel Ray, much less to do something crazy like be on her show. Crazy. I had a dream once that I met. I won't say that. No, I had dreamt that I met a certain TV chef back in the day once, and then I dreamt that I met her, and then I was standing there in the dream, and I didn't know what to say. Wow, crazy. So there's our second pack of phyllo dough. I'm going to take, you notice how this dries in the air. Look, see this? So I'm just going to get rid of this for right now. And going into our next pack of phyllo. So this is the third package. I guess there's probably like maybe 40, 50 layers of dough in this stuff. So there's one of those packages that's a little bit contrary that didn't want to open well. So anyway, it just unwinds. You'll see it unrolls, and then you'll see the edge of your phyllo. Basically just pull it out, and it pulls right out onto the paper. So, piece of cake. Or should I say, piece of baklava. So, let's just keep on going, everybody. We're gonna see now that I can almost press on this because it's getting like really, really set up. Kind of the butter is getting a little bit cooler. Coming apart there. And yeah, the butter's getting a little cooler. That is it. If it was getting warmer, then it wouldn't work. Just slide my bowl over. A little mix on the butter. So this is a whole pound of butter in here. I'm probably not going to use quite the whole pound, but I am using some butter. So I usually kind of govern how much phyllo I put on this, because at any time I could stop and it would be a good dish. But the more phyllo you get on it, the better. So I just want to keep a little butter for the end, so that I can finish it off, because I have to cut this excess off. I have to fold it over and then close it up. So a whole lot to this. And if you're still with me in this video, thank you for hanging in. And wow, this is sort of an honor to do. That's something I've been wanting to do for a long time, was to make a video doing this. So I think finally I can do this, and before I become really old, and people laugh at the old guy on there trying to put baklava together. So yeah, it's starting to look good. Step around, make sure my camera's good. Oh yeah, we're in good shape. I'm a one-man show, so I'm cameraman, editor, and I don't know, whatever else it's going to take to get this video public. So, I'm not sure how long we're in right now, but we're gonna get ready and close this up, and then we'll take a break for a few minutes after we close it, while it sets, because I'm going to set it in the refrigerator, and I'm going to let this butter sort of harden back up, so that when I score the top layer, as I mentioned in the intro right before we put it in the oven, it'll be nice. It'll be easy to do. Well, easy, kind of. So a few more layers real quick, and then we're going to close this thing up, because we are almost out of our third pack of dough, and I think we'll just go 3 packs on this one, because I believe I went a little heavy on the butter. So anyhow, my last one's in here. I especially want to be nice and straight. So I'm just, you see the reason I use such a large brush is because you have to be so fast with this. Okay. Alright, so one right in the middle here. Yeah, well, I guess we're going to take that one out because that one didn't play well with the others. So go ahead and try that one more time. See if we can't get that nice and flat. Our phyllo is very, very soft, and since it's been out in room temperature, I've had it sitting in the room temperature to thaw because it was frozen when I bought it. So here's what I'm doing, everyone. Here I'm going to take I'm down to the last little bit. Those layers are not going to go on. Buttering everything down real well. So the shoot over here. Actually, I have a knife right here. I'm just going to take a plain old butter knife, and I'm going to cut that off all the way around. I want to make sure that I leave a kind of like a top edge here. I'm going to spin this around, cut, just pull it, cut it, pull that off, and they're going to pull that, cut this. Want to make sure you cut it, not with a real sharp knife, because well, you'll hang up on your pan, or you'll slip and cut yourself. So I'm going to do that. So I'm just cutting it off because it's so buttered. It cuts off fairly easy. Okay, so we have that. So at this point, I am going to take a okay. So I'm going to take this little tiny spoon. I'm just going to dip it in my butter real quick. I don't want it to stick, so I'm going to pull this back in. So what I'm doing is I'm going around here and I'm pulling that back so that I can pull it over and just take and spoon it down.